Your Pittsburgh Steelers just got a pleasant surprise, and we're on day 25. I don't know, man. Day 30 of Aaron Rodgers holding you guys hostage. Lots of draft speculation. The first good thing is that Mason Rudolph is there. He can carry the water for this upcoming year if you guys need him to. But a lot of you guys aren't going to enjoy this thought, but I'm going to share it anyways. What if Rodgers, he just retires? What if he retires? Can Rudolph be good enough? Can he move the needle enough to bring you guys to the next level, to win a playoff game? My question is, what about Kirk Cousins? I know, but there's some new updates that he's definitely going to be available, and this comes after originally all reports were saying that he was definitely going to stay with Atlanta and it was going to be super expensive. Now, I'm not advocating for this, guys. I'm just covering this as a news source. This would likely end up being an overpay on your part. But isn't it good to at least have a fallback option, a break glass in case of emergency option? I'd rather have the Steelers use big money to sign Watt. I think that should be a huge priority for you guys. But we're looking at Cousins being a full year removed from his Achilles injury. The mobility that he previously had very well might be restored. Not that he's Michael Vick, but you guys get it. This all depends on not what you guys think as Steelers fans will happen or what you want to happen. It's a matter of how the Steelers organization views this situation if Aaron Rodgers doesn't sign. Would the organization view this as an emergency situation? Now, news on him, news on Cousins, it's emerging that he's going to be available, and the price might not end up being as unmanageable as originally thought, and he's going to be a really high-end bridge quarterback for you guys if he were to come to town. So let's stop with the debate. Let's just get to the hard news announcement, and right here it is. Falcons head coach Raheem Morris, he just said he doesn't expect Kirk Cousins to attend voluntary OTA workouts. This is a new development. Now you're looking at this guy. He was usurped by Michael Penix as Atlanta's starter late last season. Cousins is entering his age 37-year-old season. That's Rodgers is 42. He reportedly hopes to be traded after the 2025 NFL draft. He does have a no trade clause in his Falcons contract. That means he has a say in where he's dealt in the upcoming weeks or months, but it's starting to look pretty definite that he's going to be dealt. And Falcons officials, they've been pretty cagey about his future with the team, but it looks like there's almost no way Cousins remains on the roster heading into the summer. And we're looking at Penix being widely viewed as the team's long-term starter. Cousins in 2024, he posted the second lowest touchdown rate of his NFL career, the lowest adjusted yards per attempt of his 13 seasons in the league. Not a great season, but like I said, he is a full year removed from this Achilles injury. And you know what? He might be a way to go. It's going to be a matter of how much he costs, right? So let's now look into the belief that the Falcons are looking at dealing him during or right after this upcoming draft. And you're looking as Pittsburgh Steelers fans, you're looking at your team, you're still stuck without a top option at the quarterback position. I don't care if you guys like Mason Rudolph. I think he's going to be a quality player to carry the water for this upcoming season, but he does not move the needle to get you guys up into the next level, maybe win a playoff game, maybe go for a deep playoff run. And you're looking at a 10-win team once again. Maybe it's time, if Rodgers doesn't sign, to look elsewhere at a quality option. There's really no other free agent available. Why not Kirk Cousins? So let's kind of dig into this. Mason Rudolph, he currently leads a quarterback room made up of himself and Skylar Thompson. I mean, is that something that excites you as a fan? Just think, if this falls through with Rodgers, plus, you guys know by now, I don't like the circus that he's going to bring to Pittsburgh. I'm primarily a Bears guy. Justin Fields brought me to this team. My hatred for Aaron Rodgers is probably going to keep me here. I love giving you guys an impartial view here as Pittsburgh Steelers fans. I'm going to continue to be here on the daily with an outsider's view, and I want to stay impartial here. But I think Pittsburgh is the wrong town for Aaron Rodgers' circus. I just don't think it's going to work, even if he does come to town. The free agent class is absolutely picked dry, and Adam Shefter just weighed in as well, so I'm going to share that with you. He doesn't believe the Pittsburgh Steelers draft a quarterback in the draft either, at least in the first round. Here's what he just said on Unsportsmanlike. I can't imagine, nor could they, that Shedeur Sanders would somehow slip that far down to 21 overall. I don't think it's possible either. Let me say for the record right now, despite speculation to the contrary, I'll be surprised if the Pittsburgh Steelers take a quarterback in round 1. I don't think they're drafting a quarterback in round 1. That's me based on conversations with a lot of different people. As for Cousins, the guy's still on the table for the Steelers. I also believe, this is straight from Shefty, I also believe that the break the glass emergency plan for Pittsburgh, for Cleveland, for Minnesota, if it doesn't have a backup, the break the glass emergency plan is that you can always say, I'm going to trade a draft choice to the Atlanta Falcons for Kirk Cousins. You can always say, we're going to take on some of his salary. I think Kirk Cousins is sitting there as a break the glass emergency option for one of those teams. He's saying he's going to be dealt. It's just a matter of when and to who. Why not Kirk Cousins? Now, looking at him as a player currently, granted, he is further removed from that Achilles injury, but man, this would be big money, right? This would be super high risk. And one pundit issued a huge warning on Captain Kirk. That's NFL analyst Chris Sims. And Chris Sims goes pretty hard in the paint. I just want to give you both sides of this. I'm not taking a stance on either side of this. I just know that Mason Rudolph probably isn't going to take you to the promised land. So let's kind of look at what Chris Sims had to say. During Monday's edition of the Pro Football Talk Live program, Chris Sims of NBC Sports, he gave the Steelers a warning about seeing Cousins as a break glass backup plan in the event that they miss out on Rodgers. So this is what Chris Sims has to say. It is risky. This is about trading for Cousins. One, you're going to have to give assets away in trade. They're going to do that with a guy we all know did not physically look the same last year. The ball fluttered in the air. He was benched for a rookie in the middle of a playoff run. This is rare stuff. His arm looked weak, and he threw wobblers that hung up in the air for a good part of the year. I mean, we got to take this into account. Why did this suddenly happen? Did he hit the wall at 37 and now he's gassed? Let's look at the year in full. He started out the year looking awesome. He had some really good games. He won 6 out of the first 9 games in Atlanta. Then he picked up some injuries. You might have seen some body fatigue from that recent Achilles injury. He ended up losing 4 straight and just like not just losing, but just looking absolutely terrible. 8 picks with no touchdown passes. Then in that 4 straight loss streak, he just barely beat the Raiders 15-9. So the Falcons ended up making a move. They turned to Penix. So what do you do with him? What do you do with him? Many in the Falcons organization are saying his arm strength issues had a lot to do with the Achilles recovery. I would actually bear some credence to that. I think there's some wisdom there. But it's really tough to look at the guy. It's tough to look past him looking gassed at the end of the season. His arm looked pretty dead during that losing streak, right? That is not a good visual to leave teams with. And this is from a guy that the Falcons gave $100 million guaranteed on 4 years, $180 million. So it's not a matter of assets to get him. Should the Steelers really bail the Falcons out of a huge mistake that they made? Like, the Falcons are now looking for other teams to bail them out, even though they're not admitting it in the main media. So it's not a matter of assets. For those who want to pursue it further, with the Atlanta Falcons continuing to say they're keeping Cousins to play behind last year's first-round draft pick Michael Penix, their lack of movement on Cousins' contract might say otherwise. And this is another indicator that Cousins is going to be available, because we're looking at his contract. His contract with the Falcons has a provision, and it allows the team to restructure his deal whenever they want. So that would create over $20 million in cap space for the team. But if they do that, It reduces his salary from $27.5 million to just a really manageable $1.255 million and pays the difference as a bonus, spreading it out over 5 years. So if they're going to keep him, why haven't they done this yet? Why haven't they restructured? Like, who doesn't need an extra $20.9 million in cap space, right? They are so free to do it. But the thing is, they haven't done it. And Pro Football Talk explains why. I'm going to quote, "If they're serious about keeping Cousins for 2025, it would make sense to create another $20 million in cap space if they're thinking about trading him. It would make absolutely no sense. Not only would they pay him a $26.2 million signing bonus instead of sending his $27 million salary to a new team, but they'd also absorb a much larger cap hit when trading him. So while it's not a certainty that the Falcons would have made the move to restructure him if they absolutely were keeping him for this upcoming year, the chances of a restructuring are almost zero if they're thinking about trading him." So, so the fact that they haven't restructured this contract into a more manageable cap hit, it really telegraphs that they're planning to trade Cousins and that they have no interest in keeping him on the team in this upcoming season. I don't blame them. I think signing him for all this money was a mistake coming off an Achilles injury. It just wasn't a good move. So what about Cousins' no trade clause? He'd almost certainly waive it if that's what happens. If that means that he gets to play somewhere versus sitting on a bench getting splinters in his butt behind Penix and doing that for $1.255 million next season. Look, this money can be figured out. He has that clause in his contract that things can be renegotiated and shifted. It's just a matter of what the draft pick might be that the Atlanta Falcons would ask for. And you know how things happen in the NFL. As no one's biting on a player, as a team gets more and more desperate, as a team looks at their salary cap issues before and after the draft, many times these players end up being available at a way cheaper price. And with this clause in his contract that you can restructure, you can provide some cap relief, and that you can get his 2025 salary so low, maybe if the Steelers, maybe they could get away with like a 4th round pick here. Maybe they could definitely get away with that. If Aaron Rodgers ends up spurning them, I really hope he does, just for the fact that I don't want to cover Aaron Rodgers every day. I really don't want to do that. The guy makes me crazy. But beyond my personal preference, if the Steelers can renegotiate and get his salary down to a manageable level, plus have some more limited draft capital to get him maybe like a 4th round pick Atlanta would accept if no one's biting on bringing him onto their squad, maybe it's a win-win. Atlanta gets bailed out. The Steelers get a manageably priced quarterback as a bridge, and also a guy that's not going to tear the team apart, and he's not going to cause hatred in the fan base. Just kind of some food for thought. I think there's both ways of looking at it, but the Chris Sims view of the guy being completely gassed, that's definitely a huge concern. But you're also looking at a guy that's 37 instead of Aaron Rodgers being 42. So, hey, just wanted to throw that out there. You guys let me know in the comments what you think. And if you'd like to see something covered in the future that I haven't done, please leave it in the comments. Would love to do so. I'll talk to you guys later. I will be back tomorrow with daily Pittsburgh Steelers news. See ya.